What's going on, everyone? I hope that you're all having an incredible and wonderful day. If you don't know, my name is Will Zapata with Apollo Energy, and this is our Beyond the Solar series. Basically, where we not just dive into renewable energy, but we also like to talk about family, fatherhood, fitness, financial freedom, and overall working on being the best version of yourself so you can be a servant to others. So, for today's topic is actually a fun one, and it's basically how would I look at buying a home in 2026? Like, what are the things that I would look at? How would I approach it? And also, I want to give you my own experiences based on what I went through buying a home back in 2023. Seems like it was just yesterday when I bought my home, but definitely I feel like I am worlds of, much more knowledgeable. Doesn't mean that I know everything, but I just like to look at it from a different perspective, and it gives me a different level of experience from now being able to actually own a home. So, with that being said, diving right into it, one of the first things that we want to look into is making sure that you're not buying a home that's going to make you house poor. If you know me or you know me well, you know that I am all about making sure that you have freedom in your life and being able to be financially free, whether you're paying things off and working on your way there, or maybe, you don't have any debt, you don't owe anybody anything, whatever the case might be. It is something that obviously for me, I want to be able to achieve. When it came to purchasing my home, I made sure that I put down a strong deposit. For me, I did about 20% simply because I am not a fan of debt. My goal was to pay off my home in, 7 to 8 years, if not sooner. And I wanted to make sure that I did not jeopardize my family or put myself in a situation where I was house poor. So the other thing that I did is that I made sure that I could afford my mortgage in the worst case scenario. Now, I understand that in 2025, going on to 2026, because the year is basically over, house prices have continuously increased. Interest rates haven't dropped by that much, regardless of what anybody tells you, and houses are more expensive than ever. So if I was looking into buying a home for 2026, in addition to making sure that I have a strong down payment, making sure that I have some money put away, because we know that life always throws curveballs at us and we can always expect something to go wrong, right? I would make sure that I have some money put away that, if anything should have to break or I need to repair it. And then obviously for me, I would took an extra step, and I even made sure that I had enough money put away that if I didn't have any kind of income for a few months, that I could still make sure that I could afford my home. Now, I'll leave it up to you to decide what level of preparation you want to have. Obviously, we all have different lifestyles. We can all take different levels of pain. But for me, I don't want to have to worry about making a monthly payment for a home. So, I like to make sure that those things are covered. And, again, going into it being 2026 and the house prices being, maybe the final thing I'll look at is having a smaller square footage, right? Sometimes, maybe, we just have to kind of sacrifices in areas, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're able to live your life. You want to make sure that you're able to provide for your family. And the last thing that you want to do is put a heavy burden of having a huge mortgage payment that both you and your family, or even yourself, you have to pay and cover, in addition to other things as well. So that would be my first advice. Make sure that you're not looking to be house poor. Make sure that you have a strong down payment, and then make sure that you have some reserves saved, especially should an emergency happen. And again, it might be really tough to check off all three boxes, but do your best, right? And if maybe it's not time for you to own a home, maybe it's just not time. Nothing wrong with it, right? We all move at our own pace. The other thing that I would look at is what kind of upgrades, specifically electrical upgrades, do I plan on making in the home? One of the things that's super popular is people using mini splits and heat pumps to make their home more energy efficient. I would want to make sure that if I plan on doing those upgrades, those changes, how much is that going to cost? When do I plan on doing it? And then obviously, how is that going to affect my bills? If I'm doing electrical changes, like maybe using mini splits and heat pumps, that might tell me like, hey, I'm going to have a higher electric bill. Maybe I might, couple that with solar, or maybe I want to make my home more energy efficient. So I'm going to see if they've done an energy audit. I want to make sure that, the home is very well insulated. Do I plan on getting an electrical vehicle in the next 1 to 3 years, right? All things that we probably didn't think about when it came to buying a home, 10 years ago. But now, as things are getting upgraded, things are getting more modern, people want to make sure that their homes are updated. I see a lot of families that I talk to, they want to convert their home from mini splits. They want to use heat pumps. They plan on having electrical vehicles. And these are all things that will affect the way that you live in your home. So be mindful as to how do you plan to live there? What are going to be your electrical needs, right? Making sure that, if there's going to be any upgrades or any changes to your home, that also needs to be calculated when it comes to the cost of actually buying a home, in 2026. The other thing that I would make sure to take a look at is look for things that are going to be convenient for you. So, for example, one of the lessons, and this is going to be like a very silly one, but one of the lessons that I learned when it came to buying a home is make sure you're in a good internet service. I can't tell you how much I suffer from not having good internet service. It might seem like it's a small thing, but if you plan on working from home, if you spend a lot of time at home, or you just have a certain idea of how you plan to live in your home, I can't tell you how frustrating not having good internet can be. So definitely check that out. The other thing is, are things within walking distance from you, right? Like, are you living somewhere where you have to drive places? Are you living someplace that maybe it's a little bit more urban and you're closer to things? All these things are going to play into a factor as to how you're going to live in your home, the kind of money that you're going to spend. Maybe you'll spend less on property taxes, but you gotta be, commuting more, or maybe you'll commute more, but you'll pay less in taxes. Whatever the case might be, right? You may have to flip flop. It all depends. But seeing where your home is located, how you plan to live your life. Again, if it's a starter home, it's great because maybe you don't have to go so expensive. You can maybe even buy a fixer-upper. Again, those are deeper topics for a longer video, but these are things that you want to make sure that you're looking at what your lifestyle is, what is your plan for yourself and your family, and then obviously making sure that you're not putting yourself in a situation where you're causing unnecessary friction within your household. Whether you're living by yourself, which in this economy it is super tough, right? But if you are able and you're living by yourself, make sure that you're not overworking yourself to then have to spend all day at a job and then you're paying for a home that you never get to spend any time in. Having a house is wonderful. Having a place that you can rest your head is truly amazing, but you want to make sure that it's not going to be a burden in order for you to achieve that. At the end of the day, when it comes to buying a home, I'm not telling you to buy whether it's for real estate advice, because you want to own a house, because I'm suggesting that ownership is better than renting. Sometimes it's better to just stay renting. But if you are thinking about buying a home, make sure that you're taking your time to really think things over. Make sure that you are thinking about what kind of lifestyle you want to live, and then making sure like how long do you plan on live there, and have these conversations with your family, right? You want to make sure that you're including your family in all of this because when you move together as a unit, you just move so much smoother, right? So I hope that you were able to find this advice helpful. If there's anything that I missed or anything else that you want to know when it comes to buying a home in 2026, please feel free to go ahead and share it with us. Send us a comment, send us a DM. We'd love to hear from you. But other than that, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Take care.